Did you know that more than 20% of people with migraines also suffer from depression? And the more chronically you have migraines, the more that number goes up. So if you fit into this category and you do have depression along with your migraines, it's really important to know that you're not depressed because of your migraines. Of course, pain is, it's depressing to be in pain all the time, but your depression is likely causing your migraines. So in this video, I'm going to let you know the reason why, and then I'm going to give you 5 things that you can start doing at home to see if we can't help you a little bit with both your depression and the migraine pain. So my name is Dr. Tanya Paynter. If you're not familiar with me, I am an ex-migraine sufferer, as well as a naturopathic doctor who specializes in treating really complex chronic cases of women with migraines that just don't respond well to medications and conventional treatments. And so I like to help share kind of some of the tips and tricks that I use to understand exactly what's going on from the biochemistry standpoint of a migraine of my clients, so that I can help them really actually heal, as opposed to just throwing a bunch of medications or supplement trials at them and hoping something sticks. So if you've been struggling with both depression and migraines, then serotonin is going to be a really big issue for you. So serotonin is one of our calming, happy neurotransmitters. It can both excite us and kind of suppress, kind of relax us. And so when we're deficient, one of the biggest key symptoms of that is depression. And so there's a well-known link between drops in serotonin and migraine triggers. And so a large portion with women of women with migraines are actually on antidepressants, either for depression or because the antidepressants work to help boost their serotonin levels, which will help them with their intensity and frequency of their migraine. So if that's you and you feel like your meds are helping with the migraines, at least to some degree, then this is going to be an issue for you. So stay tuned. But unfortunately, the medications like the SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, aren't going to fix the problem. They are a symptomatic solution. They'll keep you where you're at. And on top of that, they can actually be contributing to other issues like insomnia and weight gain and B vitamin deficiencies. And just a little side note about that, SSRIs will actually deplete B vitamins, and B vitamin depletion is also a well-known migraine and depression trigger. So if you're on an SSRI right now and you're not on a B complex, you need to talk to your doctor about that. Okay, that's going to be a big issue. So anyway, back on track. So we need to actually work on helping to support and improve your serotonin production and retention. So let's talk about 5 different ways that we can start doing this and things that you can do at home. So number 1, let's take a look at some of those high tryptophan foods. So tryptophan is an essential amino acid. We have to get it. We can't make it, so we have to get it from our food. And it's found in things like chicken, eggs, cheese, fish, peanuts, pumpkin and sesame seeds, fish, turkey, tofu, soy. So some of those can be triggers for some people, and some of them can actually help to pull them out of a migraine situation. And so how you react to the foods that I just listed could give us a clue as to how you're feeling and what's going on for you. All right. So you can work on kind of playing around with the diet a little bit. And if you notice any interesting correlations between your mood or your migraines and those tryptophan foods, that's an important piece, that's an important clue to note. All right, number 2, you might be taking too much B2. So there's all kinds of research that shows that B2 actually helps to support and improve the chronicity of migraines and the intensity of migraines. However, I run across a lot of people that try B2 and it actually makes them worse. And this can be one of the reasons why. If you're taking too much B2, that actually will speed up how your serotonin is broken down. And so that can actually worsen those migraine drops. So if you're one that's tried B2 and it doesn't work, it makes things worse. Or if you're chronically taking it, even if you haven't noticed, it might have helped at first, but then it's too much, right? So it might have been over a period of time that you just didn't notice. This would be something to take a look at, all right? Maybe not being on a B complex with B2 or not taking B2 specifically. Number 3, chronic stress. So we all know that stress contributes to migraines, right? What I'm actually wanting to point out is not so much the emotional stress, although absolutely that contributes, is more the physical stress, because nobody ever talks about what physical stress is and how that could be contributing. So physical stressors are things like blood sugar imbalance. So I know that a lot of people with migraines, this might be you as well, they're just not hungry. They are nauseous a lot of the time, if not all the time. They have to force themselves to eat. They can barely eat anything and keep it down. And so blood sugar imbalance actually plays a big role in those migraine situations, and that can negatively impact our serotonin levels. One of the reasons for being hangry, right? Infection. So if you've got an underlying infection that hasn't been diagnosed, so that this is going to be a potential contributing factor to a chronic physical stress that also is impacting our serotonin levels negatively. So if you've ever had mono, if you get like cyclically ill, so like every 6 or 8 weeks, it seems like you come down with some sort of cold and it lasts for maybe a week or 2 or even longer, and then it goes away again, but then it comes back again. There is definitely a reactivation of some viral infection that needs to be checked out. So that would be something to talk to your doctor about. Gut issues like IBS, if you've got diarrhea, constipation, gas, bloating, acid reflux, things like that going on, or a long history of antibiotic use, the gut health is going to be a big issue, and that could be a chronic ongoing reason for physical stress. And shallow breathing is another one. Again, a lot of us, especially as we're in pain, we don't breathe properly. And that lack of oxygen contributes to all kinds of inflammation, as well as drops in serotonin levels. So that would be something else to take a look at. How are you breathing on a day-to-day basis, which is super important. All right, number 4, low glutathione antioxidants. So I've mentioned this before if you've watched any of my other videos. There are a few different studies that have shown that women with migraines tend to be depleted in their antioxidants. About 92% of people with chronic migraines have antioxidant status depletion. And this is super important because our antioxidants are what helps our body detoxify from all of the junk we're exposed to every day. So if you don't actually have a good system set in place to get rid of those toxins, then it's just causing all kinds of havoc and damage and inflammation in your body. And that is going to contribute to chronic stress, to over toxification. And it's also a reason for our low serotonin levels. So supplemental glutathione is glutathione is one of our most potent antioxidants. So that is something that you can get over the counter and you can try. There is kind of a word of caution though. It is very high in sulfur. So if you have a negative reaction to sulfur, any kind of sulfur allergies, not a good idea until you talk to your doctor about it. The other thing is if you suffer from low blood pressure, taking glutathione can actually contribute to worsening low blood pressure issues. So another reason, just to make sure that don't start glutathione or any other supplement without talking to your doctor, because it can have some real negative impacts on your health, okay? And then last but not least is different supplements that you can take to help support. So before I even go into this one, I want to make sure I'm very clear up front that there is something called serotonin syndrome. Serotonin syndrome is when you have too much serotonin and it can kill you. So if you're on a medication that boosts your serotonin levels, and then you on top of it add, multiple serotonin boosting things, that actually can cause you to go into the hospital. You can get very, very ill and or die from it. So before you start any of the next ones, you have to check with your doctor to make sure it's appropriate for you, and that any medication dosing is adjusted prior to adding anything on board. Okay, so that's my caveat. All right, so supplements to support serotonin. There's some basics. You've probably heard of 5-HTP. Maybe you haven't. 5-HTP, 5-hydroxytryptophan. That is a precursor to our serotonin, so it will help to kind of support that serotonin pathway. Melatonin is also well studied in migraine prevention. It helps us sleep. It helps, so that's one of the reasons why when you're on an SSRI, you don't sleep well, is because your serotonin will convert into melatonin. And if you're not sleeping well, it's because you're blocking that conversion, right? The SSRI is helping to keep it as serotonin, which means you don't have enough melatonin, you don't fall asleep very easily. So supplemental melatonin, both to help you sleep and to actually support that serotonin. If there's enough melatonin on board, your body doesn't need to make it, so then it keeps the serotonin around. So it kind of works on the bottom half of that pathway. Iron deficiency. So this one isn't necessarily directly impacting serotonin, but there is definitely a link between iron deficiency and depression. And so you want to take a look at this. Can negatively impact migraines as well. Migraines, iron deficiency can also contribute to migraines too. So if you haven't had your iron levels checked, needs to happen. Okay. Fish oil, omega-3 fatty acids. So this is not going to contribute to serotonin syndrome. This is just a good one to have on board anyway. Very anti-inflammatory, and has also been shown in multiple studies to improve mood and reduce depression. Okay. And it's also been shown to improve migraines frequency and intensity as well. And then we've got the last two on my list here, and these will contribute to serotonin syndrome again. So we're kind of back to that warning. St. John's wort, which is an herb that you can get. It's fairly well known for depression, and it acts in the exact same way that an antidepressant does, without a lot of the side effects of, mood swings and insomnia and weight gain and things like that. So that's something that you can kind of take a look at, have a conversation with your doctor. Do not start it until you have that conversation. And then CBD oil. So if CBD is legal in where you live, this is a really good option. There is a bunch of research about how it will improve anxiety and depression symptoms, help with sleep, reduce inflammation, lots of really good things coming out about CBD as we study more about it. The thing with CBD that a lot of people don't know, and kind of another little caveat, is it can slow down how our body processes medication. And so if you're on any kind of medication, not just an antidepressant, but a blood thinner or a muscle relaxer or a sleep aid, you have to talk to your doctor about dosing adjustments before starting CBD, because CBD will slow down how your body gets rid of it, which means over time you can actually overdose on something you've been stable on for years because of how CBD interacts with that detoxification pathway. So very important you have a conversation with your doctor about that. So CBD does not directly increase serotonin production, but what it does is it helps to keep it around almost more like an SSRI does, where it keeps it around longer so it doesn't degrade as much, and it stimulates those receptors more effectively, so that the serotonin you do have is actually doing a better job, a more effective job. All right. So those are the 5 points that I have for you on depression, serotonin, and migraines. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about how your symptoms can point to those underlying migraine issues, then check out my free training. The link's below in the description. And if you think this video might be helpful to someone else with depression and migraines, then please share it with them. Until next time.